Hey everyone, Dan with HRT, and today we're going to talk about different PCC options. We're going to talk a little bit about the Strike Industries SMC and the Flux Raider, and why you might prefer something like that compared to maybe a short AR or an MP5 platform. So first off, the Strike Industries SMC and the Flux Raider are both going around the P320 system. Love it or hate it, that's what they're built for. And as you can see, even in their fully extended versions, they are still pretty short and compact, and you can still use the actual pistol component with everything folded up as well. So taking a look at maybe why you might want to choose this, let's clear our space. So as you can see here, we have a Mark 18 rifle. This is a 10.5-inch barrel, normal stock and everything. And maybe I want something a little bit shorter. Well, if I add in, even the fixed stock version of an MP5 is still going to be shorter than that. Now I do lose some of the impact of a 5.56 round at 2 yards compared to a 9mm at 2 yards, but I might want a shorter and lighter package. Now if I add the suppressor on the Mark 18, now we're looking even longer, and it just keeps getting worse from there. So this would be a good, better option. You could also go with maybe the just basic end cap with no stock on the MP5, or adding one of the adjustable or adaptable style stocks. You could do that too and shorten everything up. But maybe this is still too heavy, and I want to get something a little bit lighter. So let's see some other options. So looking back at this MP5, this is going to be the 8-inch barreled version. If we add in a Flux Raider, and we go line up, we're going to just say line up the grips, you can see how much shorter the Flux Raider is. The barrel has barely started on the MP5 when the end of the Flux Raider is. So you're going to lose a little bit of velocity, so do keep that in mind, but I do have a more compact package. Same goes for the Strike SMC. As you can see, we line the grips up again, and the end of the muzzle here is basically where the chamber starts on an MP5. So you do have a little bit longer stock section or a brace section here, but this is going to give you some extra compactness, put it into a bag, something like that. I love the MP5, but sometimes you just need something a little bit shorter. So we can look at this. So the Strike SMC has a bifold section, so you can push this little pin on either side and fold the stock closed that side, or fold the stock closed on this side. Does lock nice in there. I have to depress that button to get it to unlock. I'll do it again. This is one of my complaints. I found it to be a little bit finicky. Sometimes it didn't want to unlock. There we go. This stock here is nice and comfortable. It's got a good rigidity to it. I do have to work the slide manually from the front here, but I do have a nice little optics mount section up top. That can be removed. There's a couple bolts here. If you already have an optic on your slide, you could remove that. There's not really any type of cheek weld on either of these type. It's not really what they're meant for. I'm going to use a standard P320 mag release button for this one. And I have another one up front to remove this magazine from, as you can see here. And I'll turn it around here so you can see that button. This piece is, they don't have it written on here. It's on the other one. It's not a vertical foregrip. Very important. This is bolted to the rail of the Strike SMC, so you can move this forward or backward. I have it pushed all the way back because forward, it's really close to the muzzle. I'm not really a fan of that. So I've got it pushed backwards, and then you have your button here to pull your magazine out. Now it's a loaded mag, would fall out easier, so you're gonna have to give some force when you take that out. Now keep in mind, I'm using the normal P320 fire group inside of here, and they have their metal housing that they've put everything into, and I assume these grip panels can be removed and swapped out for something different. And then again, You can fold all this nice and tight back in here, like that. So this would be your stowed position. Put this into a bag or something like that. When you get it out, you'll have to push the button. You can't let go too early, so you have to hold it until it gets to the right spot, and then open it up. It's a little bit finicky. I'm not really a fan of that. Now, I think there's a reason that the Flux Raider is perpetually sold out. I think a lot of it comes down to the feature set that you get on this versus the SMC. So first off, our stock here is straight in collapsed. Takes a little bit of effort to close. I have my built-in riser section up top for any type of optic. The Picatinny is already built in. I don't have to do any type of direct mount like I do in the SMC. And then I have this little lever right here that extends the brace or the stock. And then I can pick my position as well, so I can decrease it, shorten it up a little bit, or extend it all the way out. I kind of prefer it all the way out because of where my face goes when I'm looking through the optic. But that's a great feature. And then this also doubles as your slide release. So when my gun lock's empty and I put a new mag in, this is how I would close the slide release. So pushing that all the way down. So I'll show you that again. Pushing this button all the way down will close your slide to feed your next round. As opposed to, on the SMC, I have to reach up and hit the button that's manually on the slide. So I definitely prefer that layout. It's nicer when you're using this entire kind of bulky kit. This one has the Harrington arms compensator up front as well, and you can see that fits nicely into the little channel here. So when I go to grab this anywhere, if I put my hand here, I'm very safe from getting in front of the muzzle, as opposed to the SMC, there's not really much space and it's not very protected. I can still attach any flashlights or something I want up here as well. So if I want to do a flashlight or a laser or whatever, I can attach that up there. And then I've got my safety controls down like they would be on an AR. They're ambidextrous, so I have one on each side. So that's pretty nice as well. I don't have to rely on maybe the Sig safety up on the frame, since I'm pulling out all my components to put it into the SMC, or I'm sorry, the Raider here. So I really like the spring tension here on the stock, although it is a little bit finicky to close it up, but I think the benefit's worth it. I have QD slot here on the side, so I've got my ability to put a sling on there, and then I've got multiple mag release options, and let's talk about that. This is really something where this Flux really starts to differentiate from a basic setup like the SMC there. So I have a button here. I'll try and show the camera. I have this button right here. If I push that, my mag comes out. You can see the mag wouldn't drop loose in the SMC, but it's dropping out pretty fast here. So that's pretty nice. Over here, like I was working in AR, I have a button to release this rear magazine, just like I'm used to on a basic AR setup. So it's very intuitive, not something you have to relearn on a new gun. And then up here is another button. If I push this button in, this magazine comes out. So this helps me doing a reload. I can push this button in, drop this magazine, and put the new one in. Now, the best part about this whole kit is if you push this button right up here harder, you have a second detent, and when you push through that, both mags come out. So, I personally really like that. You can see we use it on the range a bunch. It's very fast to get those mags in, and especially with the way that the P320 mags are designed with the metal composition and how slick they've kept all this, it's just very easy to get your mag changes in. So the Strike Industries SMC works good, but there's just something special about having something that's more tailored towards the user, in which case the Flux Raider is definitely tailored towards the user. You've got all your controls easy to get to as opposed to having to find them in a weird manner on the SMC. So just very easy to work through all your range of motion, all your different manipulation stuff, and then it's all in a nice compact package. So if we close everything up, we just pull this lever down nice and tight again, slap that in, and then I can compress the very last stroke here. That's nicely locked up. And you've probably seen there's some videos of some departments where the guys are carrying them in their pistol holsters. I'm not sure I would want to do that, but part of the reason for these brace or stocked pistols is that I have 3 points of contact on the gun. So it's like shooting a rifle. I have better accuracy than I would with a normal pistol. So a normal pistol, you're just two hands here. You really only have one-ish point of contact. Adding the second one gives me a little bit more stability, a little bit more reliability as to my own functions. And adding in this third one of the stock here at the back allows me to have 3 points of contact on the gun, pull it in like it's a rifle, and I'm able to really use the entire accuracy of the platform and not be limited to what my grip is doing and keeping that all constant. So definitely an upgrade on just using a pistol, and the package being nice and compact like this is just great for throwing in a backpack, taking it out on a patrol or law enforcement thing where maybe like they want an active shooter kit, so they'll have active shooter stuff and they can just pop this open and have more than just their pistol as far as accuracy goes, finding a target. The one downside I have with the Flux Raider here, as you can see, sometimes when you deploy this, you might drag that little tail hook section on your arm and it will slow down the extension. You can just pull it out, but it's kind of annoying when you are expecting it to go all the way out and it stops halfway. So keep that in mind as you're training something like this, that you just make sure you've got your arm out of the way or turned sideways so you can get the full deployment off that. Otherwise, I think this is probably going to be the best setup for you. The SMC is nice, being like an all-metal composition. It's very rigid, but this just has all the little creature comforts and user features that kind of put it one step above that. I think that's probably why it costs more and why it's harder to get your hands on, but if you can find one and you already have the P320 mags and things like that, I think this is the way to go. So this is the Flux Raider and the SMC by Strike Industries. So check both those out if you're interested in maybe the P320 PCC options or something smaller than an MP5, an MP5K, or a Mark 18 style gun that's nice and short barrel there. All right, so thanks for checking out the video on the Flux Raider and the Strike Industries SMC. We hope that you've enjoyed looking at some of the compare and contrast here. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll catch you out on the range.